This is for Year 10 Methods Pathway. It comes out of Chapter 1, the chapter review. So in each of these cases, in question 13, A, B and C, we have an unknown somewhere that we need to calculate. So in A, it's A. In B, it's the letter B. And C, it's the letter C. But there's three different things happening in each of these questions. So we'll need to know a rule or a formula. So in A, it's about gradient. And I know that m will equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I know x1, I know y1, I know x2, I don't know y2, and I know the gradient. So I can substitute so that this equation then becomes three equals, because the gradient's 3, y2 I don't know, so a, y1 I do, minus minus 5. Remember there's a minus in the formula and y1 is negative 5. And then x2 is 6 minus 2. So I have 3 equals a plus 5 over 4. Then I can rearrange for a. Move the 12 will equal a plus 5. A equals 12 minus 5. A equals 7. Okay, so I needed to identify which formula to use and identify all the bits and pieces. Okay, in B's case, we have the equation of one line and the equation of another line. So that's the equation of one line, that's the equation of another line, and I want to know the value of B. So I could rearrange this for y equals and then work it out accordingly. So I've got bx plus 2y equals 7, 2y equals minus bx plus 7, y equals minus b on 2x plus 7 on 2. So I want this line and this line to be parallel. If it's parallel, the gradient of one equals the gradient of the other. Therefore, minus b on 2 has to equal 4, because the gradient of this line is 4, and the gradient of this line is minus b on 2. So now I can rearrange minus b equals 8, b equals minus 8. Therefore, that's going to make it parallel. And lastly, part C, we need the distance rule. So I know that the distance rule is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. I know what the square root equals. It equals root 13. And then I can substitute all of my bits. So I'm going to call that x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have x2. So I've got 2 minus c and 2 minus minus 1. So root 13 equals the square root of 2 minus c squared plus 3 squared. If I square both sides, I then end up with 13 equals 2 minus c squared plus 9. Now I need to rearrange for c. Move the 9 over, so 13 minus 9 equals 2 minus c all squared. 4 equals 2 minus c all squared. When I take the square root of both sides, then 2 minus c is going to equal plus or minus 2, because I get two answers when I take the square root of 4. So when I I take the square root of both sides. So 2 minus c equals 2, or 2 minus c equals negative 2. If this is the case, when the 2 goes over there, I have minus c equals 2 minus c equals 0, therefore c equals 0. Or minus c equals minus 2 minus c equals minus 4, c equals 4. So there's two possible answers for this, c equaling 0 or c equaling 4. And why might that be the case? Well, if I've got the point 2, 2, and I've got a point which is somewhere on the line of y equals negative 1, then c could be here, where that distance there is root 13, or c could be here, where that distance there is root 13. There's two spots that I could be at, 0 and negative 1, or 4 and negative 1, which is why in this case I've got two answers.